the discipline. I mean, you can't find anybody practicing law without being a lawyer. You can't find anybody practicing medicine without being a medical doctor. But you find people who want to practice journalists without being journalists, and that's why you find all sorts of information out there. And that is why we're talking about credibility. Now, when you're dealing with a journalist, even when a journalist has an online portal, you see the difference from when somebody just speaks because he has access to phone, he has access to internet, and a lot of, just as I've said, a lot of people are depressed. They sit down in the comfort of their homes and they just say, what do I do? How do I
sensationalism?
Because just post anything and everybody starts reacting. But you find the journalists doing that. That is why it's going to give a lot of problem even to the online blog, because the blogger is a blogger. I don't know what it is, but it's just a blogger, and it's different from
And I think that there are different types of blogging too.
In addition to that, when does an occupation translate into being a profession? Is journalism an occupation or a profession? It is a profession because you have regulatory bodies. You have the NUJ, you have the Guild of Editors, you have the NAWJ, you have the Press Council. Okay, so why are we not regulating? Why should bloggers say they're journalists? What does it mean to be a journalist? What do you know about journalism? Is it just picking up photos, working, doing Photoshop, and imposing somebody's head on somebody's body and writing up false stories about people, or dragging people's reputation into the mud? Is that what journalism is? No, certainly not. And so there's a huge difference between a blogger who's just blogging and just telling a story, whether factual or not, and a journalist.
Anyway, talking about bloggers now.
There are journalists who are bloggers.
There are journalists who are bloggers, and there are news blogs, there are entertainment blogs, and all of that. But then, don't you think that, like we said earlier on, it should be regulated? A lot of people are coming on as bloggers, and it sort of puts a dent on the profession.
Of course, yeah, it's a transitional process. Blogging, of course, a time will come, we'll have all the laws. As I'm talking to you now in Nigeria, we don't have some what we call spam laws, whereby you can regulate what comes in and what goes out. It is still a transitional process. People are coming into it because, you see, technology it breaks barrier. Technology does not regulate or does not stop people from doing what they can do. People, like he said, my brother said that you can be in the corner of your house and you just express yourself and it becomes something. And you know, people generally all over the world want something that is new. They want to read things that are new. But of course, talking about regulation, of course you can regulate it, but it's going to take time. We're going to still, like the Bible says, you are going to sift the wheat from the chaff, you know. The ones that are doing blog for the wrong reason will get into a wrong reaction. And those, some of us that are practicing, like my own blog is a celebrity blog, and we interview, we talk to people. We have other people that do entertainment. We have other people that even do environment blogging, who go out and do all sort of things. We have people that do event blogging, you know. But it's an idea that its time is here, and you cannot stop an idea. Time is ripe. I believe, I said something before we came to the studio. I said, I have a fear that the era of paid journalism, maybe in the next 10, 15 years, will go through some challenge. And if it is not going to go out of its instance. Yes, it's like a prophecy. But that's what I'm saying, because as we are sitting here today now, you are aware that there is a whole lot of picketing going down in town.
Yeah,
some media houses.
We'll be coming back to that.
We must be very careful.
Yeah.
If you're talking about print journalism, that's fine. But there is broadcast journalism as well. It's like saying that in a few years, Adetola is not going to be here again, it's going to be online. I mean, or that the radio stations will have no physical presence anymore. Everything will be online. Yes, there is internet radio. There are digital TVs and there are TVs online as well.
And they still do that on structures.
Yes, but you still have traditional structures.
Yeah, it brings me back to how we're going to synergize traditional media and the new media, bringing TV online, bringing radio online. But where are we in Nigeria with that?
I think it started already, and it's synergized. For example, most TV stations now have their online portal. You can watch even, live feeds, live feeds from even this program. I'm not sure if it's live. So it started, and the point is that this is something that's just evolved in Nigeria. I mean, as you go by and by, you find out that you find some of in the prints now. Almost all the newspapers that we know, almost all the credible newspapers are already online. So, and the point is that when you see, then you have to talk about the internet penetration in Nigeria. That's one of the things I wanted to say. That when you talk about online, how many people now you can stay in Lagos and say, well, it's okay. But when you go to my village, somewhere in Ekiti, how many people have access to, even when you have a phone? Even when you have a phone, how many people have access to internet and stuff like that? So there's no way that TV will not remain as TV. But the point, the synergy we're talking about here now, I can have TV where I can watch, then I can have it online, where people can watch online, and it started almost all this.
And in addition to that, Daniel, my radio station is physically present somewhere, but we stream live.
Okay, stream.
Which means whatever we're doing can be heard or listened to anywhere in the world. We have staff members who blog. We are on Facebook. Yes, they blog their programs, they blog about issues. I mean, if I'm going to, take for instance, Adetola is here having all of us. She can blog about this program, pre and post, and she can expand the issues. That is when a professional journalist blogs. Whether she's blogging about the environment or the health, as you have said, but she's a professional journalist, and she's going to adhere to the who, what, where, when, how, the 5 W's and H, which a lot of bloggers don't do. You still get to read some stories and so what is the story about now? Right. So the point I'm making is, yes, maybe print journalism is facing a threat, but it's not the same for broadcast journalism. Because radio stations will still be there. If you can stream live, you're there. Internet radio is there in case you don't have the manpower. Because the truth is, online journalism is affecting manpower, is helping media entrepreneurs reduce their staff strength.
Oh, okay, I thank God that you made mention of that now. You can understand the fact that we have the eye reporters. I'm sure you're aware.
Eyewitness.
People, something happened now in Aege and somebody will just take the picture, and before you know it, the story is in. So, but I want to also go back to what you said. Yeah, you streamline, you blog your event because there was a necessity, there was a challenge in the first instance. So what I'm saying is that the conventional journalism will be there, but you see, the conventional journalism will survive through some of the processes of the new journalism. That is, you have to dance to the tunes of the new journalism. If you just relax and you are where you are in, like, say, 5-10 years ago, you might not be there again. 5 years ago, some people say, oh, we have a magazine, we report celebrity, and because we want people to buy, we are not going online because a lot of people have access to us. But today, I'm sorry to say, they've broken that barrier. Some of them are even doing online now more than some of us, because it is what people see online. You can now say, okay, we'll give you 70% online, go and read the remaining 30%.
I'd rather say they are using that opportunity rather than dancing to the tune of the new media.
Actually, what has happened to journalism is that it's now technologically driven.
Good.
And you can't run away from this advancement of technology, the combination of information technology and communication technologies. So there is some convergence. It's placing a demand on journalists to get into multimedia and to be multi-skilled. So you're there as a reporter from The Guardian, for instance. You have to go interview Dan, Benga Dan Asapi, right?
Like that,
you give him you put the what's it called, recorder to his mouth. You have recorded it.
Audio.
You get back and write your story. That's a skill.
Good.
Then you upload that audio onto the website. That's another skill.
Wonderful.
Then you write your web story. It's a different way to write your story for the newspaper and the story for the web. A story for radio or TV, and that story for the web as well. And then if your organization demands that from you, they tell you to take the video. So you take your camcorder and you take and then you place everything on the website. That has put a demand on that journalist to be multi-skilled.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'm
That's
taking a look at all of this. It's good, you know, the synergy is good, and we're seeing an evolving practice of journalism in Nigeria. But then there are also challenges, and which brings me to data. For you to stream live, you need a whole lot of data. But then, like you said the other time, how many people can afford to get that chunk of data? So what is government doing about this? Electricity, we need electricity 247 to do all of these things.
For me, it's the marketplace. The marketplace, journalism is also marketplace driven, market driven. You have different audiences. You have probably the middle class and the upper class who have access to technological devices, who will listen to the news or listen to a radio station or watch a TV on their devices. But you also have the traditional audience or the other kind of audience in the marketplace who want to hear from their little, okay, what I'll call, I was going to say Malam radio. Their little radios as they go around. You can listen in your cars. You can listen, like you said, farmers want to access information on agriculture. They're not going to put on device, even though there are adverts showing that Malams can also use devices to track the weather, you know, but they also want to listen to the radio in that remote place. Yeah. So you need both audiences.
Okay.
Okay, so talking about, you know, we're talking about, I'm sure you're talking about internet penetration and how we can make it available and affordable to people. I think just as you said, it has to do with the market. And some things have to be fixed in terms of infrastructure in Nigeria. And I know we're going to get there. For example, there was a time we were calling for 50 naira in Nigeria. You know, it started with 100 naira per minute.
Yes.
Yes. It came to 50 naira.
Yes.
Then you can call maybe as cheap as maybe 10 kobo, 11 kobo now.
And then do seconds.
And then we went from a minute to per second billing and stuff like that. Because it's a huge market. Nigeria is a huge market. Nigeria is like the fourth in the world in terms of population. So every investor in the telecoms industry must know that you can't deal with this kind of market. And you know, when it is driven by competition, all these things are going to come down. And by the time you have this internet broadband and you can have this penetration, we're going to get it to the remote villages. But until then,
of course, the issue of power is a terrible challenge for private. Let me say, we self-entrepreneurs that blog. You know, at times you have to wake up in the night when there is light to start writing, start editing, and all that. But you see, like my brother said, there's going to be the competition in the market's force. The marketplace is a very, very tasking environment, and I think the broadband thing is going to go down as time goes on. I can remember a few years ago, I think it was Multilinks, when GSM came in. Multilinks was very powerful. A whole lot of people were buying. The elites had access to it. And I used to have an interview. I used to have a relationship with one of the investors, that's Chifatui. And when Airtel came in, I think it was Econet then, he told his Indian investors, let's sell off. They were like, oh, let's go into broadband, let's go into SMS and all that. But to God be the glory, they were able to listen to him and they sold off. They sold it to Telcom. And before you know it today, we have all sort of other, we have Glow, we have MTN.
A whole lot of telecommunications.
We are enjoying it.
Okay, this discussion is also coming at a time where a lot of picketing is going on. There are so many challenges facing journalists themselves, and not just to talk about the profession. Journalists are being owed, journalists are being victimized, journalists are being harassed. Recently I read even threats from these insurgents, you know. You know, how do we handle all of this? Let me start from you.
Well, in terms of challenges, there will be challenges. There are a whole lot of challenges. Journalists are not different from other Nigerians. But what I would just say is that journalists should begin to treat themselves with a little more respect. And that is why we have to begin to treat it as a profession that it is. I don't know of any lawyer that will be owed 17 months, or a medical doctor that will be, even teachers that will be owed 17 months and they will still be working. I mean, the Osho State workers maybe were owed maybe up to yesterday or 2 years ago, and maybe some months, and it's all over the place. So you find journalists being owed 17 months.
And they report that case.
And you report that, yes, no, of course, you have to report the case because that's a job, you must do it. But what I'm talking about is that you even find out that, I mean, I was reading on Facebook while I was coming here that somebody was pissed off that how can the NUD, your professional association, how can they be picketing your organization and you're still working, you're still producing the paper, you're still doing the report. It's as if, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I have to do this job, I mean, compulsorily. These are some of the things that, and that is why journalists are not being taken seriously in Nigeria. And just also, you have to talk in terms of regulation. Anybody can just wake up tomorrow, has some billions of naira, he floats a newspaper company. That shouldn't happen.
Yes. You
can't say because you have money you go and float a hospital. You can't say because you have money you go and float a chamber. It doesn't have an architectural firm. But it's only in Nigeria that somebody has money and he feels that, okay, how do I do? Let me just go and float a media house and begin to owe people because you take advantage of some of the other things that are not within the purview of the journalists to take advantage of them.
Let's have your take.
Okay, I'm going to respond to this in two ways. First of all, it's about your dignity as a professional. You've not been paid for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 7 months, 10 months, and you're still working. And you're still looking good. Where are you getting the money from? Now we're talking about corruption. Now we're talking about compromise on the job. If you're not being paid for 17 months and you're still working, where are you getting the money from? It means you're compromising somewhere. And so we also, so we also need to have a conversation about corruption in the media.
Okay, you're taking the last one.
You see, well, for me, this is my reaction to it. Treat yourself fine. Treat yourself well. When it started with me some years ago, I just took off. I left. I said, let me start this blogging thing.